Yeah.
Well, one of my old hobbies was taking my clothes off in pubs and running through pubs. So
hobby. I like the word hobby for that.
if I can do that, mate, I can do anything.
You can do anything. Right then, team. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Scratch Record podcast. We are opening season 2 with a cracking band that are 90s inspired rock and roll. They've got a great story from where they began in the shed, and their biggest accolade so far, might I say, is the Scratch Record podcast Song of 2020. So how are we, Roy? Roy from the Shed Project.
Mate. I'm good, mate. I'm good, yeah.
Good lad.
World Cup winners.
Yeah,
World
Cup winners.
It's got to be the first thing to touch on is how does it feel to win a fucking World Cup? That's
fucking amazing, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe a star above your logo.
It's on my mantelpiece.
It will be. It will be.
Aye, fucking hell. Yeah, buzzing with that, lads. Really good buzzing, you know.
Oh, mate.
Just the support as well, you know, it gives you a lot of exposure, it gives us exposure, and everyone's happy, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
the support was mental from your crowd over on Twitter. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just me being a bullshitting bastard, you know what I mean? That's half the job, isn't it? The Twitter side of things and stuff like that. So, but since we joined Twitter, it's been mental. We only joined in June on Twitter, and since then it's just gone mad.
I literally said that as well, because I was having a look through your Instagram and that and going back through it, and there was a screenshot of like, we've just joined Twitter, 20 followers have just begun it, and it was fucking June something. And I went back on, you've got like 2,500 followers now.
Yeah.
That's mental, that is.
Yeah, we're doing something right anyway, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's done you a world of good. That exposure on social media is something that just is so overlooked sometimes when you're starting a band, isn't it?
Well, we started off Facebook, obviously. Then we went to Instagram, and then never even thought about Twitter. You know what I mean? And then someone said, "Get a Twitter account," so we did that, and it's just talking to people. It's just word of mouth, innit? It's like anything, innit? You know, once you get talking, meeting other bands and stuff like that, it's thingy. But it is a buzz. Like other bands and people are digging what we're doing, you know what I mean? And they're understanding what we're doing as well.
Yeah.
We've not come out all guns blazing, producer and all that. We're just doing it ourselves, and we're showing people, young, old, whatever, that you can just go in a shed, do it yourself, and get your music out there. So that's the whole point of it, really.
I think absolutely it's a class message. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this shed, let's talk about that. This shed, the famous shed where it began.
Yeah, it's we had a tribute band called the Attics. I was bass player in that, and my mate Warby, he was the singer, and John, Vince and Carla are in the band at the moment. They was in it as well. That started off in an attic of a boozer in Bolton.
Nice.
So obviously the Attics. We just played weddings, christenings, and just pissing about, really, you know what I mean? Doing Oasis covers, Stone Roses covers. But I've always been writing. I've always had stuff going on in my head and stuff like that. And next minute, John was on nights in a factory, and he had a clamps out old Strat when he were bored. So he was just locked himself away playing these tunes. He started sending me on WhatsApp. So then I said, I could put lyrics to that. So I started putting lyrics to things. Me and John got in the shed, and next minute we had 12 demos, just acoustic demos, 12 demos. Oh. Within the space of about 12 months, that. So then my mate moved to Mauritius, so the Attics split. Well, we didn't split up, but we couldn't do it because of the singer. So then we just got in the shed, did that, met, and we got these demos down, met Tim come in, and then boom, it just took off. And then we've got our first tune out last January, Living, which is the production shit and all that, but it was just to get it out, you know what I mean? And
get a foot in the door.
Just to get something out and just see how people digged it. And within a month, we was doing radio. We did 2 live radio shows and stuff like that, did a live session. So then we released one shot in February. So it wasn't until Lucky Number we started getting the production side of things right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But we're going to remaster that as well for the album and stuff like that, because I think we've sussed it now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all self-produced, isn't it? Or is it?
Yeah, everything is. Yeah, everything's ourselves done in the shed. That's it. We've got a room now. We've got a room at a studio which we're rehearsing. So we've got the room at the studio for rehearsing because we can't all fit in the shed. But yeah, everything. We'll get everything down in that shed, and then Tim will just take it and master it himself and stuff like that. So it's just all been a learning process.
Yeah, definitely. But it's the only way you can do it, really, and it is having that courage to be like, right, the first single's not exactly where we want it, but just get it out. Get some response, get feedback, and then each time, I mean, you can see with your releases, it just keeps getting better and better and better. Yeah, I mean, Bedtime has smashed it, isn't it?
Yeah, like I say, I wrote that song while I was in a really dark place. That's why we teamed up with Wise Up, the mental health and addiction charity. They're from Bolton as well, so it just made sense. I wrote that about my brother being a heroin addict, and I found out my mum was dying of cancer at the same time. So it's pretty deep shit, like, you know what I mean? So, but they just made sense to team up with Wise Up then. But people have rung Wise Up on the back of it.
Oh, really?
And donated to them. So there's quite a few people done that. So that's a massive pulse for us, you know what I mean?
That's what it's all about, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah. So just getting a message out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it does really come across, and there's an extra edge to that song for that. I don't think it's any coincidence that there's that much emotion behind that song, and then it's done so well.
That's why I don't mess about with my voice. You know, you've got these bands and some of them fucking sound like Cher, you know what I mean? And the shit they do with it, you know what I mean, don't you? You can be overproduced, but we just want to be honest, you know what I mean? And just as you know, but we, like I say, that production now we're getting up there now. So
gotcha. Have you always been in the music scene? Has that always been a trick of the trade? Never ever. I picked up bass 8 years ago when we started the Attics. I just picked it up, taught it myself. The lads have always had guitars, just tinkering in their houses and stuff like that. There's only Tim who was in bands back in the 90s, but only like playing pubs and stuff like that. So none of us really have got any musical backgrounds. But we just got brought up on mint record collections, and we saw Madchester, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we're all like, I'm the youngest, I'm nearly 45, so I'm the youngest, and then you've got Tim who's 46, Vince is 47, I think, Carl's 46, John's the oldest at 49. So we was all brought up on the same stuff, if you know what I mean. The Roses, the Mondays, the New Fads, and the Charlatans. So we all went watching them bands anyway. And we all went to school together as well, so that helped. Oh, cool.
That's class.
But it's just a bit mad. Like I say, 30 years later, we're doing it.
It is amazing. As you say, it's such a good example to people.
Story, yeah.
Yeah, and we've always said, you know, we can't start a band because we're not good enough and that. But actually, it's good to
anyone can do it.
To show it feels like definitely for us it's too late, and so you can show fuck it. Do you know what? You know, just pick it up, learn it. If you work hard,
then do it. Yeah, if you put the graft in, you do it. You know what I mean? So, but we only see each other once a week, once every 2 weeks, and it's got us to where we have now. You know what I mean?
It's incredible. It actually is.
Yeah, it took us 12 months. Like I say, it took us 12 months. Well, but if the writing hasn't, if you know what I mean, that's took us 2 years fucking about in the shed. But to get us where we are, it's from our first release to now, it's took us 12 months.
So and during a lockdown as well, you haven't even. So have you not
during
even
a lockdown,
played a gig?
Not even played a gig yet.
Mad.
You're getting offered loads.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You'll be headlining Glastonbury this year at this rate.
But yeah, we've got a few. There's a band called the Jade Assembly from Bolton. They're pretty big. They're nearly there. They've offered us support, so we're just waiting on that. We've been offered a few other things, but we want to start doing warehouse parties of the old, what the Stone Roses used to do and things like that back in 1986. We want to hire an old warehouse floor, get DJs on, dance DJs, play the old tunes and stuff like that, and then we headline it.
I'm getting like goosebumps even hearing about
it. That's what we're thinking to do. That's the way we want to go.
Yeah,
no one else is doing it.
I think that's brilliant. We were talking about this the other day. Like, I'm fascinated by the 90s. Obviously, we were both born 98, but we're fascinated by the 90s. And
my son's your age.
Oh, is he?
Oh, really?
My son was born in February 98.
Oh, sick, yeah. I'm September, yeah. So it's like, it's crazy, yeah. Like we're fascinated by it, and we've always spoke about it. And what we're trying to do with our stuff is bring back the excitement about new bands that there was in that era. Like there seems to be like people would go down the pub or go to small venues just to see a band as like in the equivalent of like a night out. Like used to be like that's what you go do. Yeah. We want to try and bring that back in some way or be a part of it. And hearing you wanting to do it as well, I think it's so sick, and doing that sort of wear-out rave.
If we can pull these off, well, like I say, we've got this collab coming up with MC Tunes, which it was a bit, he used to, you've heard of 808 State and
yeah.
Well, he was a big star in 89, 90, 91, 92, MC Tunes. He worked with 808 State, so funny enough, I wagged school on the Strangeways riots in 1990. I used to wag school and go and watch the Strangeways riots. And one day I went to Affleck's Palace with my mates, and we saw MC Tunes coming out of Eastern Bloc Records. So we followed him to hide, and then he turned around and gave us a bit of smoke and stuff like that and sent us on our way. And this is like 1990. And then 30 years later, I'm working with him on a remix.
Fucking hell.
That's so sick.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's just mad. You've just got to have. I started talking to him on Facebook a bit, and I know a few people anyway here and there, and what have you. And then next minute, I just threw it at him. I just said, "Would you remix? Do you fancy doing a remix with us?" And he said, "Yeah, send me the tune." He'd already heard the tune anyway, and he said, "Let's have it." So
fucking sick.
Don't ask, don't get, do you?
Well, yeah, like I say, I'm a cheeky bastard anyway.
It gets you so far, though.
Yeah, so we brought him down to the studio, and he'd done his. We've got a rap bit in between it, so he did that in 2 takes, and that was it. But
sick.
He wants us to remix one of his tunes now as well.
Oh, brilliant! That collaboration's class.
Well, this is something else. This is something. It's going to blow your bollocks off.
Fuck, madness. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited. How are you, in terms of gigs, how are you feeling about it? Are you excited? Because I know because most bands would go through, playing to empty rooms for however long before they build up a crowd. Whereas because you've built this following, you're probably going to go in to play into full rooms straight off.
When we was in the attics doing the covers band, we'd get 200 people just for Bolton watching.
Really?
So we've done about 4 or 5 gigs. So we could get the following we get for Bolton would be enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll get in front of fucking 100,000 people. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's a buzz, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, one of my old hobbies was taking my clothes off in pubs and running through pubs. So
hobby.
I like the word hobby for that.
If I can do that, mate, I can do anything.
You can do anything. Yeah.
We sound a little bit too similar.
Yeah, I have
the same tendencies.
I can tell you some stories, mate. I'll tell you that.
Oh, go on then. Best one.
Best one was you remember Les Battersby at Coronation Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He opened a new nightclub called Atlantis in Bolton.
Okay.
And just as bad as he cut the ribbon, I stripped off, ran over, shook his hand, and I've got a load of bouncers chasing me around the nightclub and out on. So that's probably my best one, that.
That's brilliant. That's a cracking streak of story, that is, if I've heard one.
But yeah, I'm pretty notorious for it in Bolton, like. So.
Well, if you're going to be notorious for anything, you might as well make it that, innit?
Well, like I say, if I'm not King Singer, I'm King Streaky, you know what I mean? And I'm a World Cup winner as well, you know.
Do you know what I mean?
You are indeed. Oh, that's mental. That is mental. So you were out and about in the 90s doing the gig scene and going around seeing whoever. What's the best gig and the best experience you had at a gig from that sort of era?
Fucking hell, there's loads, man. There's loads. Oasis, 94, Boardwalk. Seen them a few times in the early days.
Nice.
Obviously, the Mondays, the Charlatans. Watching them just in little clubs, little pubs and stuff like that. The Charlatans played a place in Bolton. I think it was about 1990, just before they got big, and that's just a small place. A couple of my mates who were in the band went to that. I didn't go to that. But then with the gig, we were seeing these massive bands in little places, intimate, incredible. Just pub places. Yeah. But Northside as well, love Northside. But yeah, it's I watched Kasabian once as well, just before they got big at Liverpool Uni, and that was a really small.
Mental.
That blew me away.
They're meant to be. I'd never got to see them live, and it doesn't look like we're going to get a chance now, is it?
I've seen them twice in Amsterdam, seen them loads in Manchester. I've seen them loads of times. They're brilliant live.
So did you?
Go on. Sorry.
When you were seeing like Oasis in the early days before they got big, and Charlatans and these sorts of bands, were you going to see them and you were thinking, like, especially for Oasis, are you thinking these boys are going to be the biggest band in the world, or was it just their class Manchester band? Like,
just another Manchester band. Like I say, my heroes, Ian Brown, the Stone Roses. No one will ever beat them for me personally, if you know what I mean. I was really into rap music. I got brought up on rap music and the old school electro things and stuff like that, breakdancing stuff. And then my mate, I used to hang about with lads older than me, a couple of years older than me. And my mate had Elephant Stone on 12-inch, and he said, "Here, listen to this." This was late '88. And then that was it. Then I listened to Elephant Stone. He did me a tape, and boom, that was it. My head would just fill with Stone Roses and stuff like that. Then obviously you come across the Mondays, you come across the Charlatans, Northside. But there was a band called the New Fast Automatic Daffodils. Check them out. They're like the biggest forgotten Manchester band, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They were something else then. So, but yeah, it's a buzz,
Yeah, it's
coming
from
that era.
As I said, we're so jealous, aren't we? Really, because like we stumbled across all these bands later on, and we, both brought up on them. And I grew up listening to Oasis and that, but it's so different doing that compared to actually being there when it was like
being there, happening.
Gotcha.
But it's like when the Roses. I'm really glad the Roses got back together, because I took my lad then to every single one. And
sick.
It were buzzing for him to come and see it with me, you know what I mean? So, yeah. We went to the Halifax one, the secret gig at Halifax. And I think there was only 1,000 people there as well. That's the greatest gig I've ever been to in my life, that.
That's class.
Yeah, I think that was 2016, that. But, yeah, buzzing. But, there's loads of gigs. Went to Knebworth, climbed over the fence on a Sunday.
Really?
A lot of us went back of a van from Bolton. Went down on Sunday morning. Then we all jumped over the fence, got in. Prodigy that day smashed it.
Yeah, that Prodigy that lineup's fucking mental.
And then John Squire come on stage then with Oasis, obviously, then for, I think it was Champagne Supernova, I think it was. And that, I think I just pissed my pants then.
I think
I feel like they're type of things that you just couldn't do now. You wouldn't get away with jumping a fence nowadays. You know what I mean? I did a Wireless, and they jumped the fence there and knocked that down, but I think it might have been 2016, and they put the fence out then, but it was like there was security guards rugby tackling people, like there was no chance of even getting away. They managed to grab the scruff of the necks of every single one because of so many people.
But we did it at the Verve as well, played Hague Hall. We did that as well there. We used to jib about all the time and getting gigs and stuff like that. Back in So
were you a Hacienda goer?
Very late days. I think it shut in 96, 97. I think I went in 94, 95. Only a handful of times. Only about 5 times, but it had gone by then, if you know what I mean. I think late 1990, it had gone because of all the guns and stuff like that.
Past its prime sort of thing.
I think once the gangsters started taking over and all that, that was it for it. It was party over, you know what I mean?
Completely changed the atmosphere.
But from that, then you got Cream and and things like that, you know what I mean? So the party still went on, but
just a different place, isn't it?
Different places, yeah. So
yeah. You said you were hip hop. You kind of brought up on hip hop in the late 80s.
Loved it.
What kind of brought you onto that? And like, because I'm a massive hip hop fan. I grew up playing basketball in like, so like the American hip hop was something that kind of really influenced the things that I was doing. And, you know, I got into the Big Daddy Kanes, Big L's, all of the old school hip hop heads. Yeah. Like, how did that start for you? Because,
well, I obviously you get brought up with your mum's record collection, the Supremes, Northern Soul, stuff like that. Your mum's listening to the radio on a Sunday and you get brought up. And then obviously the 80s, the new romantic stuff, you see that on TV. But there was a film called Breakdance the Movie. It came out in 1984. And like I say, all the lads who I hung about with were 3-4 years older than me. So obviously then you watch Breakdance the Movie and you think, that's it then, you're a breakdancer and but it just stemmed from that, seeing Ice-T on that film and people like that, and then obviously then you start listening to the old electros and stuff like that, and then Public Enemy come along, and that's how I got into hip hop then, and then obviously then I got turned by listening to the Roses. But I still listen to hip hop now, and I love gangster, I love Snoop, I love Dre, I love all that, I love Biggie. Tupac, love all that. They're poets, aren't they?
They are. They're like almost like a street poet is the kind of the way that I've always described it to people, especially that era of hip hop. Like nowadays, it's a completely different scene. It's all this mumble rap. But when you start going back to, you know, even like latest, I'd probably take it as like 2010. Anything after that kind of become a bit wank.
Shit, yeah. But like I say, in the old, all the albums, a DJ, scratcher, and somebody rapping, you know what I mean? So that's proper pure hip hop, that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Then obviously then you've got NWA, Eazy-E, stuff like that. Fucking unreal.
Eazy-E was a belter, man. Eazy-E strung the game a completely different direction, didn't he?
Yeah. So, but it's like Doggy Style and The Chronic. They're two of my favourite albums. I don't think... then you got Wu-Tang Clan.
Old Dirty Bastard was a fucking prolific bloke, mate. He was unbelievable.
So does all of that do those sorts of like albums and genres and everything, does that have a big influence on your music now, or is it a bit more sort of personal rather than band focused?
I mean, lyrics are personal. But no, like I say, as you can probably see by Lucky Number, you've got the Smiths in there, you've got the Roses, we've got melodies, you know, and harmonies and stuff like that. That's how we want to do it, like early Roses demos and stuff like that. So yeah, but we're not afraid to try something like this, what we've done with One Shot, like put a dance element to it and get MC Tunes into rap on it, but that's been talked about, doing a bit of a remix EP or something like that. Get 3 of our regular tunes and just mix them up and put it out as an EP. So we're open to doing anything.
Yeah, you know definitely. I was gonna ask you about that because like we've been obviously going back through, and you've released 5 singles this year now, is it?
Yeah.
Did you? Was that like a conscious effort to do last year? Yeah, long. Don't know what day of the week it is, mate. Never mind.
Terrifying. It's 2021, isn't it? Last year just kind of flown by.
Was that a conscious effort to do like 5 singles rather than waiting and like launching just an EP with all 5 of them on?
We just wanted to build our profile up, really. You know what I mean? We didn't even think Living to Get played on the radio, and then somebody picked it. It was a guy at All FM in Manchester. We said, send us. So we sent it in, and next minute he played it. He played Living, got a good response. And then we went on his show and did 3 live tracks. And then Bolton FM got us in. We did 3 of them. So then we thought, this ain't too bad, this. So we released One Shot then. And we made Jack Cullen, he's a middleweight boxer. And in March, just before the lockdown, he come out to One Shot live at the MEN on Sky Sports. So that was
that doesn't hurt, does it? That
not really, no. So I've still got the recording on my telly.
I bet you have. That's class.
But when the lockdown's over and done with, he's going to start coming out to it again. So as his profile gets bigger,
So how do you know him then? How's that come about?
He's just a kid I know from Bolton. He's been away with us a few times and stuff like that, but he's the same kid. So I just asked him, and again, just cheeky, like, I said, would you come out to it? He went, fucking right, I will. He said, give it here. So I had to send it to Eddie Hearn and stuff like that. And then next minute, we're in the MEN and fucking our tunes booming over while he's walking down ring. So yeah, we're buzzing.
Oh, that's fucking... What did that feel like? That must have been such
just a fucking mad buzz, innit?
I bet.
But yeah, but like I say, when the crowds can flock back in, he's going to start coming out to it again then. So that'll be his tune. But yeah,
that's really cool.
Then I blagged one shot on the Sky Sports, the Soccer AM playlist.
We were literally talking about it, innit? How did that come about?
I love Soccer AM. Well, that's another thing that I just grew up watching every week.
Well, I'm a massive collector of Stone Island coats, jackets. I've been collecting them since '92.
Wow.
Plus Fenner's collects them as well. So we started talking on jackets, but he knows a pal who I know, and then that rate, I just said, can you bang that on playlist? And he did. So hopefully we'll get on there one day.
I was going to say, you'll be putting it top bins on there at some point. For
he's a piss that. No, I'll probably do me knee or something, but
it'll be well worth it.
But so we did that. We released one shot, and then it just carried on from there. We just said, right, let's get Lucky Number out. Everybody loves Lucky Number.
Yeah, it's a class tune. That's the one. Well, I think that's when we first found you.
Yeah.
About, and I think that you even messaged us and was like, check it out, and I was like, okay. And it is one of those where like you just saw everyone start talking about you on Twitter. That's it. Well,
even the production on that's a bit ropey, but it was just building and building and building. And then we put Do It out. Do It was like an experiment to see if we could make a 60 song.
Yeah.
You know, like just with that 60s lo-fi vibes. So that was a bit of an experiment. And then obviously then when we put Bedtime out. But I knew when I wrote Bedtime, me and John looked at each other and went, fucking hell, that's a good song.
Tune, that.
Yeah.
But for the album version, we're on about doing it as an acoustic and putting piano on it.
That'd be really sick.
So we're going to change it and maybe strings and stuff like that. So
got to get a grand piano and an orchestra in a shed. That's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Oh no, my mate's got a piano, so we'll just record him doing it and put it over. But there's loads of things going on. But we've got 20 odd tunes written done.
So you keep mentioning an album. Is that the aim? That's what's coming?
That's the dream. Yeah, that's the dream. So if we can get an album and get it on vinyl, that's the ultimate for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, just for our own buzz. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So, but like I say, people are digging it, and as long as people are digging it, we'll give it them.
From the looks of Twitter, and what we're seing is you'd sell a fair few of them, mate, at the moment. To be fair. Yeah. It's well worth doing for sure.
Like I say, we did the finished arrangement for the One Shot remix last week, and that's sounding something else. So that's getting mastered as we speak now. Tim's on that now, so.
Bloody hell, it's exciting.
Get that. It's just with the album now because we can't get together again because of this. It might be the album's there. It's demoed. It's all demoed. It's all in place. It's just getting in there and finishing it off.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we've got a 9-minute tune on there as well. It's like
9 proper roses. That is,
yeah.
It's called Friend. So we've got a massive instrumental on that. So that's going to take some fucking time. But that's what we're loosely basing the album on, the Roses album.
Right.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. I think that's
just try and build it and build it and build it to that last fucking massive tune. Belter. So watch the space.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it sounds like it's going to time quite well if you keep going the way you're going, and then by the time you have it ready, then gigs might be back and you can start. It will all piece.
That's what I mean, Peter. If we can get our album out and people know our tunes when they come to a gig, we're buzzing. So basically, it's worked out in a good way for us, really.
Yeah, it's been almost like every cloud, and it has a silver lining.
Yeah. Like I say, if you put the graft in anything, you get rewards, don't you? So
absolutely.
Have you found it quite hard with, as you say, like you work and you graft doing that as well? So have you found that has there been points where you're like, I don't have time for the music, like I'm bored of it, or has it just been quite easy to?
It's been quite easy because music's my saviour, really. You know what I mean? It keeps me up top, you know, because I graft and there's 6 lads who work for me, so it's fucking 100 mile an hour. Yeah. So really, that's my downtime, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Making music. So yeah, we try, like I say, we try and get together once a week, and that's it. So 1 week we'll record, 1 week we'll rehearse. So
yeah, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. I want to talk about best albums of all time, right? Yeah. So I want to do like a desert island disky style thing. If you were going to end up on a desert island and you had a record player and you could only take 3.
Fucking hell.
What would you
Proper
take?
Sprung this on him here.
Yeah. So I had it written down. I was thinking about it. I listened to a Desert Island disc and I was like, this would be a class question to ask someone that's experienced the scene for so much longer than some of the bands we interview have only been a band for 6 months.
Yeah.
And they're like 17 and we're like,
got to be the Stone Roses. I think it's the greatest album of all time, in my opinion. Perfect fucking album, you know. I still listen to it now, 30 years later, and think, fuck me. And I'll have it on in my headphones and I'll think, fuck me, what's that? I'll catch that bit again, you know, and that's after listening to it every month for fucking 30 years. Incredible. So yeah, it still surprises me now, that album. It's that's the soundtrack to my life, the Stone Roses album.
Incredible. True masterpiece, isn't it, really?
Oh, fuck me, man. Dude, like I said, nothing's true. They say definitely maybe he's up there with it and things like that, but it's just different genres of people, in it, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's good. The Stone Roses is definitely number 1. Fuck me. Number 2 would probably be Solarized, Ian Brown.
Oh,
nice.
Interesting. So have you been a fan of Ian Brown's solo stuff?
Since I go everywhere watching him.
Yeah, really?
Absolutely everywhere.
Because it polarizes some people. I've seen some people say it's like Stone Roses.
Fucking not
like it, but a lot of people do.
Yeah, there was a time when I preferred his solo stuff. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But yeah, I've been everywhere watching Ian, and I sort of got contacts with him and stuff like that. I know Inda well, Inda Goldfinger, his percussionist, and I know Aziz pretty well, who was in his band. So yeah, it's probably that. The reason being that is I split up with my ex-missus in, when was it? 2004, and that album had just come out, so it was constantly in my fucking head. But I just think every Ian Brown album is different and just takes you on another journey, you know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but really creative musically.
Just creative progression of music, you know what I mean? He's not afraid to try anything, and that's how we want to go, you know what I mean? If you listen to Unfinished Monkey Business now, it's an album full of demos, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's a fucking classic album.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's a genius.
I remember when it first came out, I was scratching my head thinking, fucking hell, this is shit. But then I started to understand it then, you know.
Yeah. It's the same sort of progression to some extent that like the Arctic Monkeys have been on in the last 15 years, say, since when they started, and they released this Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, and everyone was like,
fucking hell, yeah. But then when you listen to it in depth and thing,
you start to get it, don't you?
Start to get it, yeah. Well, it's like look at Oasis after the 4th beer now. They started the fucking 20-minute fucking songs and all that shit.
Yeah, and even like what Noel Gallagher's doing now, he's
he's gone to this cosmic pop
music and psychedelic pop.
I think what it is with Noel with me, I just think it's all the fucking same shit all the time, you know. I'm a Liam fan, you know.
Is that what it is?
I'm a fucking Liam fan, man. He's a proper geezer, isn't he? He's just a lad, isn't he? Yeah. I think Noel's gone all fucking arty-tarty and thinks he's above fucking every cunt, but that's just my opinion, Noel. If you want us to support you, Noel, I didn't mean that. You know?
I think Noel's that great, even if he doesn't.
I'm sure he'll love that.
But my third one's got to be Doggy Style, Snoop Dogg.
Class album.
It's just fucking, I mean, that's...
Mate, there's one way that I always say, like, there's good albums, there's brilliant albums, and there's great albums.
Yeah.
And the great albums, you can listen front to back,
front to back,
from the middle to the back to the front. Like, it doesn't matter how you listen to it. Every single track is a belter.
Belter, yeah.
Absolutely.
There isn't many albums that are like that, you know what I mean?
There isn't at all.
My memory, there's Revolver, the Beatles, there's probably the Queen is Dead, the Smiths, Closer, Joy Division. Fucking love Joy Division.
Yeah.
Then the Roses. Charlotte and Some Friendly is one of my favourite albums as well, the first album.
Yeah, that is a class album.
Fucking brilliant, really good. The Verve, obviously, Urban Hymns, quality album. Kasabian's first album's up there as well. That's another one what you can't turn off, you know. So yeah.
I'll tell you what you can do for us is try and settle a little bit of a debate from what I feel like is an expert.
Yeah.
We've been debating for what feels like weeks now about James.
Yeah.
And whether or not I really like him. My dad really liked him, so I grew up listening to them. I think they've got some brilliant tunes, and I think they're one of the bigger bands in the 90s. I've been shut down a few times and been told they're shit.
Yeah.
Roy, what is your opinion?
Overrated?
Nah, they're fucking good, man.
Come on. No. Yeah, that's such a stamp of approval as well.
They're brilliant live as well, you know.
So the Motive Boys need to listen to this.
They're fucking brilliant live, really.
We had a band on, what was it, 3 weeks ago, something like that. Yeah. And we interviewed the Motive. They're like supporting the Royston Club and like one of the up and coming bands from like the London scene. Yeah. And they were saying that they went and saw them at the Isle of Wight festival. Yeah. And they were like, they were shit. They were shit. Like shit, really, yeah. And we tweeted it out. We went onto Twitter and were like, right, let's have a little go. Let's see who thinks what. And the James fans on Twitter were
fucking shit
on it. Yeah, they were at all. They weren't having it.
We did a poll that ended up about 99% that they're the best band in the 90s, and then that was like,
nah, they fuck. No way. And it was I think they formed in about 79, 80, you know, the James. Really? It took them a good fucking 10 years to get recognised. You know what I mean? It was only, I think it was Come Home what got recognised, and then obviously they brought Sit Down out, but. Before that, they fucking struggled. Yeah. They really struggled. I think Pulp were like that as well. Pulp were going for 10, 15 years before they got recognised.
I feel like some of those bands maybe had to wait for the 90s to come. Because
it's maybe, time and a place, isn't it? Yeah. If it wasn't that time of people not giving a fuck, you know, it had just come after the Hacienda stuff. That had died down the summer of 89, 90. That died down, and then you got your grunge, you got your Nirvana, your The Mission and stuff like that. And then obviously Oasis come along then. So it was just that time then, wasn't it? It was Tony Blair's fucking Labour, all that bollocks. And that it was just that. I think Oasis just got the timing right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they fit nicely into that, also like working class, like that everyone just was in the same boat because it just was it was just a shit show. Yeah.
Well, then you had Cast and Blue Tones. You had bands like that coming off it, which are all good bands as well. I love Cast.
Yeah, I like Cast. Cast, I think, are one of the more underrated ones from the 90s.
Very, very, very underrated band. But yeah, it's what I can remember in the 90s. It was fucking mint.
Were you a mental one in the 90s then? Were you real?
There must be some good stories.
Have it, yeah. Fucking, I was on the piss every week, you know what I mean, and doing things and bits and bats, yeah. I've had some mental times.
What was your favourite? Would you have? Obviously, you probably can't remember the favourite ones, but like, what's your most almost like a treasured experience from that era of time?
Fucking hell. Fault knows.
Fuck knows.
I was off my fucking trolley every week, you know what I mean? The ease was fucking 25 quid back then, you know what I mean? In 92, something like that. So I think I had my first one in 93, 94, I think. Blew my fucking head off.
And they were cleaner than they are nowadays.
It's all shit now, innit? It's all this ketamine now, innit? And shit like that. And fucking madness. So, but yeah, favourite, fucking hell, man.
Or just anything that stands out from that sort of time. I mean, I think, as I say, we couldn't do it, so just so interested in like what it was like, really.
Fuck knows, mate. I was out every single week, you know what I mean? I was in Bolton, in Manchester, and Amsterdam, places that I still go to Amsterdam a lot now, you know what I mean, with my mates who were your age as well, you know, because my mates stem from 50-year-old to fucking my lad's age, you know what I mean, and that's so we still I'm just trying to fucking think. Fucking hell.
I bet you got some cracking stories though.
I fucking have if I can remember them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd seen every band from that era and gigged every week, and even on the dance stuff, you know, going to Cream and places like that. Caught a couple of the old raves in the car parks in 92, 93 when I left school. So I was only 16, 17 then, driving to Burnley, just going to a car park and then boom for your bit of rave at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, them were my days.
So did you come out of school and basically go straight into like trade, like paint and decorating?
I've done what I've done since I was 15. Straight out of school, straight into a trade. Did my apprenticeship for 3 years, and then that was it. Then just grafted for a few firms, and then started my own firm up. So yeah,
class.
That is class.
That's happy day. Was the attic when you kind of realised, like, how did that come about then? Like, because it's quite a strange, like, to just dive into learning to play the bass. Like, it's quite a deep dive, really. Like, how did that kind of come about for you lot?
It was them lot had been strumming. Well, Tim wasn't involved then. It was Vince, who's on bass now. He was a guitar. He was the guitarist of the Attics, lead guitar. John was rhythm guitar, who writes with me. Carl's on the drums, who we drafted in as drummer for us. Then there was a lad called Warby, who's moved to Mauritius. They just got in this attic and started jamming, and then I found out about it. Went up and seen them one day. I thought, fucking hell, they've got something here. So they said we need a bass player. So I went, I can't play a fucking bass. So they give me a bass, and I just learnt myself, just sitting down, not plugging it in, you know, just fucking about. So I got tunes, and I think the first tune I played was I Want to Be Adored. Got that, and then just started looking at the guitar tabs and stuff like that, and then just taught myself. And then within 12 months, we done a gig.
It blows my mind when like you say things like that, because I know you can work hard and people will do it, but I could sit and play the bass for 15 hours a day for years, and I would not be able to do it. Like I don't have any.
It's just because you've got no rhythm, Joe.
I don't understand it. Like, it doesn't click with me at all.
I probably was no good at it, you know what I mean? But it fucking sounded all right to me on stage.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, that's still, you know, that is still an impressive and takes that bit of talent to be able to
It's like with the acoustic. I've got an acoustic guitar myself. I can't play the fucker, but if I've got something in my head, I'll get that little tune and just try and get it down, and then I'll listen back to it, and I'll put some words to it then, and I'll either hum it to Tim or John, and then they'll start playing it, and then I'll start singing the words, and then the tune comes in 5-10 minutes.
Brilliant. That is the way it goes.
Me and John was in the shed the other week, and he had a tune what he'd sent me again on WhatsApp. So I said to him, play that tune, and he went, which one? I said, the one the other week. So within 5 minutes, we had a full song.
Mad.
Unbelievable.
So sometimes it just clicks. It just, as soon as you hear something, I can just write words straight away to it.
Yeah.
So they might not mean anything, but you know what I mean?
I think they do.
But most of my songs, what I write, mean something, what's gone on in my life. Living is about going to the pub on a Friday, you know. Do you go to the pub or do you meet your girlfriend? You know what I mean? You go into the pub and you work stuff with your wage in your pocket, and then you're getting pissed and you're spending all your money in that day. So that's living.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
One Shot was just about being positive in your life. You only got one shot, you know what I mean? Live Your Life. Lucky Number was about the first time I met my missus. Staring at me, staring into heaven. What's your lucky number? Guess it's a 7. Be with me, you know. So that's about my missus. Do It. I just wrote that on a beach, I think, in Forteventura, just lying on my back, staring at the sun, thinking of the crazy things just pondering. So
yeah.
And then Bedtime, obviously, is about the bad time in my life. So yeah, everything's about something. I've got songs what I've wrote about heroin addiction. I've got songs what I've wrote about depression, just things what have gone on in my life over the time in my life. So yeah.
Yeah. Was heroin addiction something that you suffered with as well as?
No, my brother. Just my
your brother. Yeah.
I've lost quite a lot of friends through it who I've grown up with. The place where I'm from in Bolton, Tom Moore is rife with heroin addiction and things like that. And I think I was about 12 or 13. A couple of my mates got into it, so I fucked off and started hanging about with another group of lads. So really that changed my life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, bit of a sliding doors moment for you to be like.
Yeah. But I couldn't believe it when my brother got into it. My brother worked for me for 10 years and I didn't know. I thought he was just doing the up his nose. And the next minute I'd find out he was digging heroin, so I had to deal with that as well. So. But it's funny enough now, my brother's mates are getting into it now when they're mid-30s.
Really?
It's fucking crazy. It's madness. So yeah, you'd think people had learned, but it's a bad place, Bolton, for stuff like that. So yeah, but you've got to be switched on, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you find it never really appealed to you, or like were you just kind of like, that was I'm too young, I'm not getting involved?
No, well, at that time, yeah, obviously you were playing football, things like that. And then obviously 16, 17, you start finding beer and going out and stuff like that. So I'm on the piss every week and doing a couple of E's, a bit of coke, whatever, you know what I mean? But that's just another level, that stuff. But yeah, there's loads of songs I've wrote about them times and them people, of certain people. Obviously, they don't know I'm writing about them, but it's them subjects. There's a song called Temptation on the album. That's about my brother. So that's pretty ruthless. There's a song called Weekend Millionaire I've wrote about these people who get their wages and they're in with the fucking Prosecco and all that shit, thinking they're fucking bee's knees and all that. So I wrote a song about that. And so, yeah, it's all about my life experiences anyway.
Yeah. Are they going to be stuff that comes to are they going to come to the album? Are they, or just kind of like, just having
them will be on the album then.
Brilliant.
So I've written down the album.
So do you find it a little bit therapeutic for you now to be able to like have a bit of an outlet for a lot of those like memories and feelings and be able to get it down into a song? That made it, because I think that is quite a good thing to be able to actually express it, because I guess a lot of people would just sit and think about it and that's it, but you can actually have a bit of an outlet for it.
Yeah, well, I played football for a long time and, you know, Sunday league and stuff like that. So that was my outlet. And going to the match on a Saturday, that would be my outlet. But as you get older and stuff like that, there's just this music come along. So I started writing things down. So, yeah. I've got a lot of experiences, a lot of life experience, so I can channel that into something positive. That's how I see it.
Were you always a writer? Like, would poetry ever string to mind, or
no? It's just always been up there, but never been written down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like I say, once we got in that shed with John, everything just started coming out and
pouring out.
So
brilliant.
I was working away. Like 4 months ago in London, I was in a hotel room in London on my own, and I just boom, straight away 3 songs written. So
mental,
incredible,
yeah,
really incredible. I think the other thing that I wanted to squeeze in while I was still going is this Brits and Pieces album, because it's been incredible, and I think we've followed it sort of from the start and saw it become an idea and then come to fruition and see the track list. And obviously you lot were featured on that. And then it charted at number 54, which is unreal. Yeah. And then it sold out. We didn't even manage to get one. I think we're going to try and buy one off CityLights because they bought 10. So we're getting one off them boys. But how was that whole experience and to get a charting position and all that?
Yeah, well, Mark had obviously heard Lucky Number. And then obviously we got talking. He told us our ideas. So we said, yeah, we'll be right behind it. And then next minute it started becoming reality. So we sent Lucky Number to him, and then boom, it just escalated from there. But for us to be named with bands like City Lights, who they've got 50,000 followers, you know what I mean? It's an honour for us, you know. So excuse me. It's brilliant. And how many bands have been in charts, you know?
Not many. Not many at all. For sure.
How many bands from a shed have been in charts?
Yeah, not a massive number for sure.
But for it's like with the other bands, for other bands to tweet about us and dig our tunes, you know what I mean? And experienced bands. And it's like the kids. Is it Rivalry? How old are they?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I didn't realise how young they were. We were because we're doing this giveaway, and we've got this like hamper that we're working on that as now, quick plug, it should be out online, so get entering. But
did you get that t-shirt?
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's brilliant.
It's all we've been collecting a few bits from a load of people, so then when we can actually get it together, we can get it pictured properly and spread the word of so many bands. But bands are incredible. But hopefully give a little bit back and share it about. But
But like I said, doing this has turned me on to a lot of new bands as well, because I was stuck in that rut of listening to the Roses, the Mondays, you know, that me rap music, this, that, and other. And then what it was when we come on the scene, there was a band called Northern Revelation. They got played on the same radio station as us on that All FM back in January last year. And then I'd heard their tune and I thought, fuck me, these are good. And we've become quite friendly with them, you know what I mean? And then obviously when you join Twitter with the Superlatives, the City Lights, Northern Revelation, CIVIC Green, Underclass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're all brilliant bands, aren't they? You know?
I mean, it's literally what we do like all day, every day, pretty much, is try and just listen to
tunes. Yeah. At least, like I say, it's turned me on to a lot of new music, and some of these bands, you think, fuck me, that SKYLIGHTS, man. It's really, really good.
Class. Yeah, brilliant.
I think they're going to be massive fan.
Yeah. In our World Cup, it was even because we capped it at 100,000 monthly listeners. But that's a pretty mad number. But there's like some of the bands that are in there that were just our like favorite 32. I mean, you beat all of them, so I mean, it goes to show, doesn't it?
Well, it's like I say, it's bullshit and word of mouth and half a decent tune in it. You know what I mean? But
quality tune, but there is. I think that's the thing that people don't realise, and you get these people who love Oasis, Arctic Monkeys, Stone Roses, and you go, well, if you know, that's why our playlist is ideal, or anyone on Twitter, get involved and try these bands, because some of them are, as you say, I mean, making music from a shed and it sounds just as good as some of these huge bands. So yeah.
Well, like I say, we plug them all anyway, you know what I mean? We'll give it help to any bands because we're just fans like you at the end of the day, you know what I mean? We're just like you, but making a few tunes while we go along. So it's a buzz.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think them the SKYLIGHTS are going to be massive next year.
Yeah.
I think
they've got such potential, haven't they?
Got a good sound, really good sound. Shader obviously are up there.
Shader are mad at the minute.
Yeah, people are digging them.
I'm excited for
Stanley's are good. Yeah,
first two tunes.
There's a lot of really good stuff in Wigan coming out of Wigan. You got the Lathams. Stanley's, there's quite a few in there from Wigan. That's only up the road from us as well. So in Bolton, you've got us. You've got the Jane Assembly. There was a band called Arfold as well. They should have been massive. If you ever get a chance, listen to them. Arfold.
Okay.
I think you'll dig them. Really dig them.
Absolutely. Well, it's kind of perfect, really. We normally at the end of
at the
end of the podcast, we have a section where we get the person we're interviewing to kind of shout out the bands they're listening to that they're really enjoying. And we've managed to do it, haven't we?
Didn't even have to say it; it came right through.
It came out naturally, and that's what we like. Absolutely. Well,
I just
brilliant
checked
chat.
it. It's been like an hour, and I'm like, oh my god, it was mad. And
I'll take a talk all fucking day, me. Just watch out for the one shot. Hopefully we're going to get it out mid-February.
Nice.
So as soon as it's done, I'll send it. I'll email it. Yeah,
that'd be class. Yeah, we'd love that. And we'll be sharing as much as we can.
It's a massive nod to the 90s as well. It's a massive nod to the Hacienda. Let's just say that.
I can't wait.
Class.
I can't wait.
Class. And to everyone listening who's not listened to the Shed Project, they are officially the Scratch Record podcast World Cup winners for 2020 with Bedtime. So get on that track. Get ready for them coming up because they're fucking class.
Absolutely.
Nice one. Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Roy. It's been brilliant.
It's been a pleasure and an honour. Thank you very much. And keep up the good work, lads. You know what I mean?
Cheers.
Thank you very much. We'll definitely get down to seeing you as soon as it comes back going, like wherever you are. We'll definitely mate.
We'll be there.
It's going to be superb. We'll have a good crack, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'd like to say we have been in talks with a few things, but because of this thing, there's no use announcing things, getting rid of loads of tickets, and then letting people down. We're not about that.
Yeah.
Plus, it'll give us a bit more time to rehearse and polish up. But we're ready, man. We're ready.
They're ready.
We're ready, man.
It's coming.
Put my cowboy pants on. We're ready.
Get your best coat out.
Yeah, man. So yeah, nice one.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Nice one.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. If you've made it this long through the podcast, make sure you have liked and subscribed. Get over to the Shed Project. Follow them on Instagram. Make sure you follow us on Instagram too at the SR Podcast, and we'll see you on the other side. Peace.